A few days into Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial, his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, one of several accusations, testified. Her confidence and preparation as she testified in court were evident. The singer is likely to discuss the 2016 hotel attack by Combs on her when she was his girlfriend. He was termed a hip-hop kingmaker, music mogul, and ultimate success story. However, Cassie Ventura's court testimony yesterday shattered that carefully created image. Diddy paled as his ex-girlfriend described horrible events that left even the most experienced courtroom reporters dumbfounded. The former empire's ruler lost control as Cassie divulged everything, and we mean everything, about what happened behind closed doors. Rachel entered in a form-fitting brown dress, visibly pregnant, head held high, and did not look at Sean Combs, the defendant. He alleged Sean Combs controlled everything from her clothing to the room's lighting to how she should engage with a sex partner. Again, what is a freak-off? Cassie says Sean Combs told her about the freak-off a year into their relationship. He called it voyeurism, wanting to watch her having sex with someone else, and she said she did it because she was 22, 21, young, didn't know better, and wanted to please Sean Combs. The singer is likely to discuss the 2016 hotel attack by Combs on her when she was his girlfriend. Combs denies wrongdoing. His defenders say the video shows jealousy, not sex trafficking. For the first time, jurors are hearing Cassie discuss that and other parts of their 10-year relationship. Sean Diddy Combs practically dominated the music industry for decades. He developed bad boy records from scratch, made superstars, and pushed his brand into fashion, vodka, and media. In theory, Diddy was the ultimate success story, showing everyone how to make money from hip-hop. That perfect image, that polished business genius, mentor, and music visionary persona, if court testimony is accurate, it disguised something much darker. While magazines covered his business activities, audiences hailed his performances, and everyone saw his polished red carpet smile, Cassie Ventura was supposedly living a different reality. The disparity shocked everyone in court yesterday. He portrays himself as the ultimate professional, custom outfits, impeccable grooming, and interview success. But the claims? They portray a different person behind closed doors, a stranger to fans who just recognized his face. Diddy arrived for day 2 looking like the millionaire mogul we know, court reporters noticed. He entered the courtroom with his team of expensive lawyers, nodding confidently and occasionally smiling. The man appeared to be going to a business meeting, not facing serious charges from his ex-girlfriend. The confidence? It ended quickly. Cassie's testimony transformed Diddy's tone in the first 30 minutes, according to multiple witnesses. Swagger, confidence, and the cool business face faded. Cassie described specific events from their connection, and Diddy's legal team frequently objected, seemingly desperately trying to stop her. Imagine this. He developed a billion-dollar empire, managed innumerable musicians, and arranged major financial transactions, but he lost control in court. Witnesses said Diddy couldn't sit still as Cassie spoke. Power has shifted totally. Diddy was the center of attention when Cassie testified. His face appeared colorless, as a plug was unplugged. First he fidgeted with his tie, then his cufflinks, then his hands. Court watchers saw him feverishly penning notes and giving them to his counsel. The notes came so fast that one of his attorneys had to calm him down. One court reporter said it was like witnessing someone realize they have lost control of the story for the first time. Diddy appeared unwell as Cassie calmly described their connection, according to another. A third witness said Diddy closed his eyes multiple times to avoid Cassie or her words. This was just the start. The courtroom learned why Diddy lost his cool as Cassie testified all afternoon. The accusation she was about to make would shake the music business and threaten Diddy's decades-long career. This story-controlling man was about to meet an aversion he couldn't alter or fabricate. She once said she looked forward to freak-offs. Why did Cassie anticipate the freak-off when the prosecution asked? "Did you ever like freak-offs?" Cassie choked up. She replied, "I did, but only because I had one-on-one comb time. I adored him." That addresses psychological abuse. Additional physical abuse may have occurred. She's portraying a young person driven by a record career. She got a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment, led by Sean Combs, and remembers being enamored with him, adoring him without knowing about certain sexual activities and him teaching her. One young person commented, "I was young, I was naive, I didn't know any better." She's recounting the narrative of someone who thought she'd be with a music industry professional who cared about her career. But after the freak-offs, she realized she wasn't. She said she felt dirty after that first freak-out, which I found amusing. It didn't interest her. She said she backpedaled in an email to the jury when Combs replied, "I know you don't want to do that." When she suggested discussing the freak-offs, she answered, "No, that's not it. That was just the start." She requested a discussion in an email in 2010. Though she didn't want to, she felt compelled to. Diane, prosecutors immediately investigated Cassie Ventura's years-long abuse. Ventura told jurors he would hit my head, knock me down, drag me, kick me, and stomp me when I was down. She further explained that freak-offs entailed hiring an escort and performing under Combs' command, and that they happened so often that she had to set them up. Ventura said she felt she had no choice but to participate because Combs might retaliate or blackmail her. She's had to take deep breaths and pause her testimony. Combs was sitting at the defense table, hands in his lap, listening blankly. A pin dropped in the courtroom as Cassie Ventura testified. Everyone knew this moment was coming, but not even Diddy's legal team was ready for her words. Cassie finally spoke out after years of keeping these things inside. She began little. That's why it worked. Cassie told how she met Diddy at 19. He was a music business powerhouse, a multi-millionaire with many connections, young model trying to become a musician. The power gap was huge from the start. Cassie said Diddy knows how to wield that power. Her testimony grew slowly, like a horror movie where you know something horrible is coming, but can't turn away. First came lesser control concerns, like how he demanded to know her whereabouts and would abruptly show up while she was with others. Career control. She claims he threatened to shelve her songs if she didn't cooperate and destroyed collaborations with other musicians if he felt threatened. The most shocking? Cassie testified that Diddy planted tracking software on her phone. He occasionally called her minutes after she arrived. Knowing where she was, she testified. She said he gradually cut her off from friends who encouraged her to leave. Diddy was her only support after her support system left. The court called for order 3 times throughout this testimony. Diddy lacked self-control. He was shaking his head, muttering to his lawyers, and making faces the jury could see. Every time the court cautioned him, he took 5 minutes to regroup. I felt like I was seeing someone who'd never been told no, discover they couldn't control the circumstance. Everything changed then. Cassie gave her attorney her phone. They displayed text messages and emails to the court. Diddy's expression? Pure shock. He had no idea she saved these messages for years. Supposed apology messages for violent outbursts. His allegedly threatened her job if she told anyone. Communications that contradicted his PR team's years-long claims. The texts were only a warm-up. Cassie claimed physical attacks during their relationship when she testified. The courtroom went hushed as she described being shoved against walls during discussions. He pushed her down the stairs at a Miami rented house, she said. Worse, she testified that he choked her until she nearly lost consciousness, stopping only when she became limp. These charges visibly affected several jurors. The jury's oldest woman wiped tears. After some graphic descriptions, a male juror couldn't look at Diddy. The most experienced reporters in that courtroom agreed that they were unprepared for Cassie's detailed testimony. This was all leading up to the hotel event that blew this case wide open. Cassie's relationship with Diddy has been detailed in previous lawsuits, but hearing her on the stand relive those experiences is different. Keep in mind she's quite pregnant. I'm curious to see how long she lasts on the stand and how she handles these questions emotionally. In their opening statement, the defense said she chose to be there, which will be intriguing to observe. I'm intrigued to see how she answers questions like, was this her decision, or did she feel obligated to do all of this? Cassie became emotional, explaining the freak off and why she did it. When she said she wanted to please Sean Combs, she broke down. She had just answered questions till then. She might be soft-spoken, but she grew emotional. When asked if she enjoyed it, she broke down and stated, I enjoyed being with Sean Combs. I did everything to make him happy, she says. Jurors' expressions? The jurors are glued to Cassie's testimony, which is anticipated, right? Because she will likely testify for 2 or 3 days, according to counsel. She was Sean Combs' girlfriend for about 10 years. She has a lot to say and is just beginning. How crucial is Cassie's prosecution testimony? Rachel, it truly ties things together. She has the most information on the prosecution's idea of creating a criminal enterprise for Sean Combs's sexual demands, according to the initial indictment. 7 images of Sean Combs' close friends, including his former chief of staff, were shown to the jurors, linking it to this alleged criminal operation. Cassie Ventura named and described these personnel as security, drivers, chiefs of staff, and financial representatives. Because she spent so much time with him, she knew some of these people again. Cassie stated she felt she would die that night. She whispered as the courtroom pushed forward to hear her. The press, fans, and gossip blogs had never heard of the Four Seasons Hotel incident she described. This hotel event was forgotten for years. Cassie said she kept it a secret out of concern for her career, safety, and that no one would believe her over Diddy. Now on the witness stand, she was honest. Cassie says a routine industry after-party became a nightmare. She testified that Diddy was furious after seeing her chat to another music executive. She recalled how he lost his smile, grabbed her arm so firmly it left bruises, and shouted threats in her ear while maintaining his public face at the event. The most shocking? Diddy practically dragged Cassie to the elevators in the hotel lobby, she testified. Her crying and wanting to leave caused a scene, so hotel security approached. But the guard backed off when he saw Diddy. He asked whether everything was good and left when Mr. Combs answered sure. Cassie testified that he never asked whether she was okay. The photos followed. Cassie's lawyer showed her self-portraits from the morning following the incident. Arm bruises, split lip, neck redness. These unprofessional, unsteady bathroom mirror photographs were even more frightening. Cassie said she took them to avoid being disbelieved. Diddy's lawyers tried to prohibit the jury from seeing these images. They claimed the photographs weren't validated, might have come from anywhere, and should have been presented during discovery. The judge dismissed all objections and showed the photographs on courtroom screens. Jury reaction spoke everything. One stunned female juror covered her mouth. 2 male jurors turned away from the photographs. A back row juror feverishly wrote in her notebook, trembling her fingers. This hotel incident was a surprise. It was not mentioned in earlier declarations or filings. Diddy's team didn't expect it, therefore, they had no response. Everyone in court saw his lawyer's terror. Cassie said Diddy hurled a champagne bottle at her head, missing her by inches and breaking against the wall. In a frenzy, he broke a lamp, flipped a table, and punched a hole in the bathroom door, she testified. Most disturbingly, she claimed he kept her in the room for almost 48 hours, took her phone, and threatened to punish her for calling for help. After this testimony, everyone in the courtroom looked at Diddy. His response defined the trial and possibly his career. The defense will argue that this was consensual, not blackmail or coercion. Cassie started with Sean Combs as a young person attempting to start her career, and he helped her. The defense will contend she was starting out and needed support. It was their first record contract. I think the defense will focus on that. And Sean Combs got her here. The prosecution claims he was in charge. It may have started consensually or with her thrilled about seeing him, but he took control. He ruled her career. Their star witness is on the stand, trying to explain all the charges the prosecution wants to impress on the jurors. Cassie mentioned Dallas Austin, a producer friend, early on. Not sure if we'll hear from them. We know that prospective jurors saw Kanye West, Kid Cudi, and Lauren London's photos. How they fit into why they were asked is unknown. Do you know them? Are you familiar with them? Cassie is still being questioned by the prosecution. The defense hasn't had a chance to. That may change depending on timing, but she's such a critical witness that she'll likely be on the stand all day. Cassie calls him Pop Pop, and Sean Combs calls her CC. What is CC? The prosecution asks. She said Cassie Combs. Cassie seems like what kind of witness to jurors? People can tell she's pregnant and due any day by looking at her. So people might sympathize with her, but we don't know. We know they're supposed to be impartial. She describes herself as a witness who was trying to figure out who she was and who she could be. Now she's approaching 40. But even recounting her drug use and attempts to impress Sean Combs show that she didn't have much control. I guess that's the lesson. This person makes it apparent that she had no choice over what she dressed, did, or had sex with at that time. She's changed, but I think she broke down in the courtroom when she talked about those events and reflected on them, as we witnessed. No one in that courtroom will forget it. Diddy, who built his career on being calm under pressure, collapsed in front of everyone. What was underneath was ugly as the facade broke and shattered. You must understand that this man spent decades establishing his public image as a smooth-talking businessman, calm mogul, and never-sweating billionaire. That carefully maintained facade began to slip as Cassie's evidence became more devastating. Court reporters who've covered hundreds of celebrity cases said it was unprecedented. Diddy went from the confident industry giant who entered that morning to a cornered and desperate man by afternoon. With each accusation Cassie made, he shrank in his chair. His attorneys worked overtime. Someone seated behind them said Diddy's principal attorney was touching his arm to calm him. One lawyer tried to give him a note that read, "Stay calm" in capital letters, but it didn't work. It became so ugly that Diddy smashed his palm on the table when Cassie detailed a Hampton House incident. He hit it hard, echoing around the courtroom. "Mr. Combs, if you can't contain yourself, I'll have you removed from this courtroom," the judge said. It appeared he could be kicked out of his trial. Witnesses noticed Diddy shaking his head and saying, "That's not true," every time Cassie said something harmful. He seemed unaware that a jury was monitoring his every move. One courtroom observer said it looked like a man who had never been called out before realized he couldn't control the story. Amazing power shift in that room. Diddy allegedly ran Cassie's life during their relationship. She was telling the truth, and he couldn't stop her. He had to sit there and take it. He couldn't cut her mic, remove her, or spin it through his PR team. After Cassie mentioned threats, things broke down. She stated that Diddy threatened her family if she discussed their relationship. Then came the surprise. She had audio recordings of his voice expressing these threats that her lawyer played in court. That's when Diddy went crazy. It didn't happen like that. He sprang up and shouted at Cassie. His legal team used force to get him back in his seat. 3 lawyers had to keep him from talking over the courtroom tape. The judge promptly summoned a recess, but the harm was done. Everyone saw. The jurors, reporters, court officials, and the guy who claimed to be untouchable had just seen how vulnerable he was. The Diddy they let out for recess looked drastically different from the morning walk-in. Mask gone. It wasn't pretty below. The true bombshell came after everyone thought they'd heard everything. Cassie presented evidence the judge, jury, and Diddy did not expect. She secretly gathered evidence of their relationship for years. Diddy couldn't find or erase text messages, emails, or images stored in many places. When Cassie said she had text messages from celebrities who had seen Diddy's actions, the courtroom went silent. These weren't random industry types. Court transcripts show that Diddy's closest friends and business associates, who had known him for years, had seen things at private parties and backstage events that the public never knew about. Diddy's expression said it. When Cassie suggested famous witnesses, a gallery goer said he looked sick. His lawyer shouted and demanded a sidebar with the judge. They claimed these messages were hearsay and improperly provided during discovery. Judge wasn't having it. He returned to the courtroom after studying the texts in private and overturned all objections, declaring them highly significant and admissible. The decision alone made Diddy put his head in his hands. He anticipated it. Celebrity messages emerged on courthouse screens one by one. A famous rapper texted Cassie after a Grammy after-party. "You okay? What I saw tonight was wrong. Stay at my house if necessary. I've known him for 15 years, and I've never seen him act like way with anyone else," wrote a female music singer. "This is unusual. Please call." A Diddy producer of decades sent the most hurtful messages. He texted Cassie after seeing a studio incident. "I can't stay here. I advised him to seek aid. Call me when safe." These texts contradicted Diddy's public statements. Nobody had seen inappropriate behavior. Cassie was distorting private stuff. People witnessed things, were concerned, and reached out to aid her, the court saw. Diddy's messages followed. Screenshots showed him acknowledging occurrences in texts. "Sorry about last night. My drinking self is known. It won't repeat." Another text from him read, "Name what you need to fix this. Get a new car, apartment, whatever." A third communication series appeared to offer money to conceal incidents. "My lawyer can prepare the paperwork tomorrow. $2 million, clean break. You don't discuss the last 5 years." Reading these messages aloud caused an intriguing gallery reaction. Many of Diddy's entourage, who had sat behind him in support, silently exited the courtroom that morning. As the evidence grew, they left one by one. After this part of the hearing, Diddy and his legal team were nearly alone at his table. Support he'd brought in the morning was gone. The unexpected evidence changed everything. After day 2, music's unassailable King departed court looking defeated. His security crew couldn't shield him from the courtroom's events. He may be losing his decades-long empire. Cassie Ventura may have rewritten Diddy's history by telling her story. All the facts, testimonies, and recordings built a picture nobody can erase. Diddy's reputation may never recover from what the world heard in that courtroom, not if he can win this case.